know from anyone, what has been the biggest aha for you? Anyone tell me in the chat, what has been your biggest aha? I know we've been able to
No,
find out
from
better who our
anyone.
ideal clients are.
What has been the biggest aha for you?
Let's see.
Anyone tell me in the chat, what has been your
Okay,
biggest
Dr.
aha? I
Minger.
know we've been
And Dr. Minger said she's so excited. I know, me too. I mean, we've been able to create our HQs. We've been doing our homework, Dr. David. So many amazing things have happened in just 1 week. Just 1 week, we've learned how to systemize our creating our HQ so that we don't need to spend all day and and night working on our business. So it's been great. So tonight we have some case studies. Now, throughout this week, Dr. Una has been so gracious. And the students of the EntreMD Business School have been so gracious. They have shared their stories with us, and we found that stories resonate so well with people. We found that the stories really kind of help you see yourself, right? If you're thinking about um, being more visible, you're thinking about needing more business growth, you are going to be so inspired by the doctors of the EntreMD Business School that we talked to tonight. So we've got some amazing people that I'm going to interview tonight, and I just can't wait for you to meet them. So if you're ready, let me know in the chat that you're ready. Let me know. Let me hear from you. We've got stories that are going to inspire you. Woohoo, Dr. Stuppy says. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. So the first person I'm going to speak with is Dr. Anusha Khan. So Dr. Khan, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Okay, Dr.
Hi.
Timpson, you're ready. Wonderful. You can go ahead and unmute yourself. And first of all, please tell us, introduce yourself first, and maybe where you practice and the kind of practice that you have.
All right. Well, hello, Makita. Nice to see you again. And hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Anusha Khan. I'm an internal medicine physician. I have a longevity and prevention practice out in Northern Virginia, right outside of DC. Yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Okay, wonderful. And you have a relatively new practice. You have
That's right. We actually started right in the middle of COVID, uh, October 2022. So needless to say, it was a uphill battle. We are in our fourth year now, and it honestly still feels like I just started it like yesterday. But yeah, we're fairly new.
So, you started right before COVID. You had no idea if COVID was going to come, like no one else knew. So, what were some of your challenges before you joined the Entrepreneur Business School? What are some of the challenges that you had in business?
Yeah, much like a lot of people, especially during that time, one of our biggest challenges was visibility, not knowing how to, get in front of our ideal clients. All that we had, you know, thought of prior to COVID hit and the lockdowns happened, a lot of it had to do with word of mouth and, in-person networking and talks and whatnot. It just wasn't possible. And then as a lot of you guys may know, that during that time, nobody wanted to hear from physicians.
Mhm.
Nobody wanted to do anything with medicine, doctors, whatever, forget, doing something completely, unconventional on top of it. When I say unconventional, meaning so my practice is a membership-based practice. We don't bill insurance. Some of you may know it as a direct care subscription-based model. And then on top of that, we were very much focusing on longevity and prevention, trying to keep people healthy. And longevity is still a upcoming field. So we were pretty, we were pretty niched, and it was a lot of education on a lot of things. So that was a great challenge, how to market ourselves, how to get out there. And then, of course, the other part of it is not having a community to kind of rely on. A lot of physicians, at least in my area, are employed. They don't, there's not a whole lot of independent practices around here. So not having that community of support, not having, some, people to brainstorm with, bounce ideas off. So that was difficult. Yeah, that was life before EBS.
And that's a big challenge. I mean, you're super niched, longevity medicine. I hadn't even heard of it until I spoke to you, Dr. Khan. And I talk to doctors a lot. So not only are you super niche, your ideal client, we talked about the ideal client on Monday with Dr. Una. Your ideal client is very specific because it has to be somebody that not only wants that, but can afford it.
Yeah.
So that was hard. And then like you said, how could you bounce ideas off of people, because there not many people are doing that, but where do you get, where are your referral sources, what do you do? So fast forward, I think I want to ask you, what made you decide to join EBS? Was it the challenges that you were facing, like just trying to figure out how do we become more visible? What made you take the leap? Because you had a relatively young practice. You could have said, well, let's just keep figuring out. Let's just try and, try it out. And
Yeah, no. Well, I discovered Dr. Una's podcast somewhere along the way, and she was like that motivation in my ear every single day. And long story short, I got to the point where I believe there was a workshop that I ended up attending. What it was one of those 5-day things, workshops like throughout the week, and I attended every single one of those. And at some point, honestly, and I have a partner in the practice, so at some point I sat down with her and I was like, you know what, we could keep repeating the same thing again and again, hoping for a different outcome. Or, I mean, what do you have to lose at that point? If anything, you have to gain, right? Because at the end of the day, it was, okay, well, I joined this and nothing changes. Well, okay, nothing is changing right now either. But the alternative is that if things do change, then, well, there's a lot to be gained. So that was my biggest decision. I was just tired of the same loop because I had nothing up my sleeve at that point. So something had to give. And so I took a chance on EBS.
I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad that you did. And what you say is so profound, because it's just like, we're going to stay in business, right? We're not going to quit. We're not going to give up. We believe in what we're doing. We believe that the patients need us, and we believe that we want to make impact. And this is the community where we want to do it, and we can do it. But we need help. Like, we need the strategy. We need the community. We need to know what to do. So I'm so glad you made the choice for the EntreMD Business School after listening to Dr. Una and getting the wins from her. And remember what Dr. Una said about HQ? Dr. Nusha has just told you that, she could hear Dr. Una in her head. And so when she was ready to make the leap, she chose the voice that she was hearing, which is Dr. Una. So just a little side note about the HQ. So Dr. Khan, we are all waiting with bated breath to know what happened. So, okay, what happened? What happened since joining? You haven't even had a year yet in the school.
No, actually, I started late September, pretty much into October was my really full first month. So it hasn't even been that long. I guess I'm in the second quarter, I guess I would say, with EBS. And I mean, the first quarter alone, honestly, the biggest win for me was to have the courage to change or at least add options for like memberships, meaning rather than just keeping it monthly, we were courageous enough to make an annual option. And honestly speaking, I never thought that it was ever going to be anything that goes anywhere. If anything, I was thinking of it as a psychological push to want to do the monthly memberships. You know how they have like 3-tier prices. Your middle one is like the, most popular one. So you nudge people into that. Turns out that something, it's like, I guess we don't value ourselves as much as the value that we're actually giving people in their eyes. And it ended up being that it injected a lot of cash flow because people have actually started purchasing the annual option. So that made a huge change for us because obviously, as many of you would know, cash flow is very important. And so that was the biggest first quarter change, that just being in the community and attending the classes every week, listening to other people, listening to Dr. Una's advice, it's like, you know what, take a chance. If this is something, what can be your what is it? Revenue generating activity, RGA,
Yes.
that can that can push the needle towards getting to your goals. And that was what we thought, that, okay, we're undervaluing ourselves. We should probably, look at other strategies. And that was what we thought of, but we didn't actually think it was gonna do anything, but it did. So that was the first quarter win. And then that second quarter, honestly, so it's about now, honestly, and it's been leading up, and in our classes too, we've been talking about, okay, when you live 90 days each time, meaning every quarter is what you want to focus on rather than the whole year as far as deadlines are concerned. And then you get to, say, the last 30 days of the quarter, which is where we are now.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's like the more limited time you have, you're like, I want to make these goals happen. So I kid you not, in this last 30 days, in this last month, we have done more in visibility than I don't think I've ever done in the time that we've been open. And I'm flipping through here because I want to see my calendar. This month, we have, so I was able to secure a guest speaking teaching opportunity at my alma mater, George Mason University, at their one of their business classes. I said a lot of things that Dr. Una says.
Yeah.
Then literally that was this Tuesday. Then yesterday, I did yesterday, meaning Thursday, we attended a annual business gala where I met with 3 of my, what do they call it? My ideal 100 or whatnot. Networked. So networking was huge, visibility. Then tomorrow we're hosting our cardiac longevity masterclass that we have actually a great sign up for. We're trying to figure out if we have enough seating.
What's a great sign up? Let us know.
It's over 18 people are coming.
Wow,
and I'm like, okay. And then next Tuesday we have our life coaching workshop only for our patients that, again, I didn't think anybody would be interested in, but we have almost 20 people coming in for that.
Wow.
And then on Wednesday we're doing a health fair for the community. So that is rounding up my month. And the point is that I don't think that I would have gotten, and I know it's a lot, and it's not like I would do that every single month, but it's more of, I don't think I would have pushed myself to get these things lined up. I would have always had it in my head, it's too much, or I can't do it, yada, yada, whatever, XYZ. So I'm proud in that regard that I think it's the push that you kind of get with the support that you have, that you're not alone and other people have done it, so why can't you, sort of thing. So yeah, those are my wins. And as far as I guess if we're talking about financial goals are concerned, I don't think we've met where we want to go, but we're far ahead to we're far closer to our goal than we were before we started EBS. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, and I think there was I'm trying to remember the last time we spoke. You had come up with a percentage. I can't remember it, but it was a lot more than what you had in the beginning as far as the percentage of growth.
Yes.
Revenue.
Yeah, no, it really was, and the biggest part of it was the chance that we took on ourselves to do the yearly memberships. That really, I mean, the gross revenue from when we first started out versus after EBS, even in the first quarter, was phenomenal. I mean, it was just mind blowing, which I thought wasn't that great, but then I realized that no, I'm undervaluing myself again. So.
Yes, exactly. Look at all the love you have. Dr. Blumenthal is clapping for you. Let's congratulate Dr. Khan. This is pretty amazing. So you've got an event Friday, Tuesday. I think you said you've got all this visibility coming up, and I love that you're doing things for your patients, because that's just more revenue coming in the door, because now when they come to those workshops, they're going to be like, wow, I didn't know you offered this. Sign me up,
Yeah, and it's about value. And that's, again, an idea that I got from, and that's the thing too. It's not, I mean, Dr. Una is amazing, don't get me wrong, but it's all the almost mini master classes you end up having during those classes too, because you learn from other people's experience as well. So I don't know, you catch these micro ideas. And I thought to myself, we were just talking about retention in the last class. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking to myself, how can you create value for people to want to stay your members year after year? And
Yeah.
for that, you've got to, not only should networking helps with that, meaning I met this life coach through a mastermind that I ended up in because of networking, again, because of the push I got from EBS. And then now that same life coach is doing a complimentary workshop for our patients. Our patients don't pay extra for it. So for them, it's value. For the life coach, she's getting value of, 20 eyes on her that she didn't have before. And for us, it's like it makes us look like, well, we're putting these things together that are very high value for our patients, and we're not charging them anything extra. And we're adding to what we preach when we're talking about longevity has to be, physical, cognitive, and emotional. And we weren't doing anything as far as emotional is concerned. So that's our big, push this year. So yeah, it's a lot of it has to do with being in EBS and kind of thinking through and having these ideas for both retention and growth. You gotta do both.
Yes, that is so like I'm like anyone else proud of Dr. Khan. Like that is so amazing for you to have, put all of this together from everything that you're learning. And of course, Dr. Una really teaches us about that, right? Like how do you keep your patients your patients? How do you keep them coming back? How do you retain them, like you said? But how do you, because right now, if someone was looking for, let's say one of your patients was looking for something more, but they didn't know that you offered it, they would just go somewhere else.
Yep. And we realized we weren't, I mean, we pretty much, a lot of our patients didn't know so many things that we actually offer. And that's where the whole newsletter came in. Having a monthly or a weekly newsletter to pick a topic about something and kind of, squeeze in one of the services that you have that kind of complement that topic. So it's not like, I'm, sell sort of thing. And a lot of our things are included in our membership anyway. We want it to be utilized. We
Mhm.
don't nickel and dime. But they wouldn't know if you didn't have a way of like showing them, hey, these are the kind of things that you're getting being in this practice. This is the value that you're getting. And quite honestly, like there's, it's been about it's a lot of push with, how to market yourself in every way possible. And that's really the biggest thing that has been that's been a beneficial thing being in EBS. So much so, and I know I've gotten emails about this too, so much so that I've gotten so busy doing all of these things that I've missed classes. But I do listen to every single one of them. I promise you I do. But that it'll slow down a little bit. Yeah.
That is so amazing. Let's give jazzy hands for Dr. Khan. This is so amazing. She said, I put my head down and I do my visibility to the point that I miss the class.
That's literally all there.
I just can't wait for the snowball effect. I mean, you haven't even been in the school in a year. I mean, we're technically, 2 quarters. And look at the amount of growth in your business, the amount of confidence that you have now in terms of what you have to offer, the diversity of what you're offering, the way you're able to relate better with your patients, and not only that, just what you're doing in terms of visibility, how it's going to put you up as a thought leader in the community and a thought leader in what you currently do.
And that's the biggest thing, that sometimes it's not just, immediate financial gain. It comes like in waves. I don't know how to describe it better than that, that it's like you feel like you're doing a lot and that nothing is changing. And then all of a sudden, it's all the things that you did that are now, it's almost like there's a lag. So if you kind of fall off and you stop doing things, it'll catch up to you. And then you wonder, well, what happened, sort of thing. But once all of that is done, it's that whole HQ, headquarters type of, mentality that, when you still build all of that, that'll kind of continue to work for you while you're sleeping. I mean,
Mhm.
it's work. It's not easy, but it's doable, and it's easier because you are in the trenches with the people in the same position as you. So that helps.
That is beautiful. I put the link to register for the business school again in the comments, because you have just made such a point about having the community and the support to help you. Like you said, I probably would not. We're in the business school. We're in the middle of a challenge now, in a 30-day sprint challenge. Like, to get like this month of March, we have to make sure we meet our goals. And you are doing all the things to make sure you meet the goals. But part of the reason why you're able to do all the things is the community and the strategy. Because you could be definitely busy, but not busy in the things that matter, and not and you could definitely learn what to do, but not feel empowered to do them because you don't have the community. Any last words, Dr. Khan? What would you say to someone that was like, wow, the school really sounds great, but they were worried that maybe their own business is so unique, because you've got a very unique business. Not only are you direct, not are you cash based, membership based, but you've got a niche. So what would you say to somebody that was thinking that?
Yeah, I mean, I was in that same mindset too, but honestly speaking, like, I think I'd already said it too, that, I mean, what do you have to lose? You either, well, I mean, monetary wise, yeah, I mean, you could lose whatever, you're paying and stuff, but what's the trade-off, right? I think that, I think, and I saw it again here too, obscurity is too expensive, meaning that will always be more expensive than not taking a chance on yourself.
Woo, I need to give you a high five, Dr. Khan. Woo! Anybody else want to join in that virtual high five? She said, obscurity is too expensive. Obscurity will always cost you more than not taking a chance on yourself. I am going to quote that. I'll give you
absolutely. And the thing is, I mean, I want personally, and especially if you're in that same spot, any one of you, I wanted to go down swinging. If I ever had to, God forbid, close this place down, I wanted to be sure I did every freaking thing I could to keep my doors open, because for me, the motivation was, what's the alternative? The alternative is the health system. And my God, I do not want to, no, thank you. So if nothing else, do it for yourself. And yeah, that's what I would have to say, that obscurity is too expensive. Nothing costs more. So.
And like Una said, mic drop, that's it. And I love the fact that you said go down swinging. Go down swinging for your dreams. For some of us, it's the fact that we feel like our patients need better care and they deserve better care. For some of us, it's the way that we want to practice medicine. For some of us, it's our family. For some of us, it's everything. But go down swinging for your dreams. Don't just give up, Know that you did everything. I love that. So EntreMD.com/business. We do have a few more slots for one-on-one with Dr. Una. Oh my goodness. Her superpower is strategy. And like Dr. Khan says, you'll get that strategy. But imagine Dr. Una sitting with you with your specific business. So go ahead and turn in your application. And the application is not binding. It just means that you and I will have a conversation. And we'll see if this is the best next move for you. Thank you so much, Dr. Khan. Let's give her some love in the chat. You got a lot of different people that said things to you. So go ahead and respond. And if you had a way for us to reach you or get in touch with you, social media handle, anything you feel comfortable sharing, you can put it in the chat as well. Thank you, Dr.
Absolutely. No, thank you for having me too. And I won't be able to stay for the whole thing if that's okay, but I'll put in my contact information. Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I'm going to call you back. Don't worry. We have a date after your next quarter. Thank you so much. Wasn't that incredible? Oh my goodness. That's incredible. She is starting out, but it's like she's already living the dream because things are coming together and she's busy. She's doing the work. That by itself feels good. That by itself feels good. Dr. Una is here. Dr. Una said, I am looking forward to working with a new cohort. Oh, Dr. Una, we're looking forward to that as well. In the EntreMD Business School, we are physicians and we can crush it as entrepreneurs. Dr. Una always says, physicians make the best entrepreneurs, and she's absolutely right. You've got proof already tonight. You guys think you can handle one? Well, maybe more than one more. I've got another wonderful physician entrepreneur here tonight, and her name is Dr. Evka Novak. How are you, Dr. Evka?
Hey, I am great. It's such a pleasure to be able to talk to you and to talk to my EntreMD family because we truly are a family to each other. It's
Yes, we
absolutely,
are. We are. It's so good. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
oh gosh. So I have grown so much since I started EntreMD and I started EntreMD. It was one of the cohort classes. I was one of the first classes and COVID has gone better. And I have grown. So currently I do a whole bunch of things. One of my top things is I do house calls in all
Mhm.
over New Jersey, and I see patients all over New Jersey. And currently I've taken on like a chief medical officer role for a house calls based startup
Oh,
that is
wow.
bringing care to the front lines of Ukraine,
Oh my
where
goodness.
ambulances have gone, uh, the hospitals have been bombed down, and there's nobody. And
Hmm.
so we're bringing trained people to use our special equipment to the front lines and are providing US-based medical doctors to provide care for them.
Oh my
We're also doing
goodness.
that in the inner city. I've been taking care of patients, sometimes with chickens, getting paid in chickens and turkeys. I've been taking care of people in the inner city who cannot make it to the doctor. So I've been doing house calls for them too.
Wow.
And then the other thing I'm doing is I started a subscription-based model where I teach doctors and other medical professionals how to speak other languages because I speak a couple myself. And
How many
um,
is a couple? We want to know how many is a
oh
couple?
gosh, I speak 5 languages.
Okay, five is not quite a couple, but okay.
But it's because of my background. Like I grew up in a refugee camp. We escaped communism, and when you have that kind of background, you just learn to speak languages. But
Mm,
one of the languages I didn't speak was Spanish, and especially in for a lot of us, we need to be able to speak that language, and we need to be able to have better trust of our patients.
mm,
Patients are more likely to trust somebody they can identify with. If you speak their language, they're much more able to identify with you.
wow.
And so I've taken somebody who speaks no Spanish to be able to speak pretty conversationally in their medical visits within about 200 hours using all kinds of memory techniques. It's unheard of, and I've created that. So
This is so. I'm like, you got me at Ukraine. You got me at Ukraine. Once you said you're helping the citizens of Ukraine with medical care, that was it. That was it for me. That is so fantastic, Dr. Efka. You're doing things that matter so deeply. I mean, um, and 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 it's just amazing to see you. It's like you're living your dream life in a way, right? Do you feel like that? When I'm talking to you, that's what I feel.
I feel like I've made incredible impact. I've made tons of incredible impact before I joined EntreMD. For instance, I teamed up with Amazon
Hmm.
and and in their warehouses, we gave out 100,000 free face masks to medical residency programs throughout the country.
Hmm.
And I was at the driving force behind that. And many of you may have received my email 4 years ago from from Eva Tesnak. And the truth is that prior to EntreMD, I was doing so much good work and I was trying to create so much magic in the world,
Mm.
but I was getting paid nothing or very little. Like I would go do these house calls and like the whole thing with the face shields, I got nothing. It was a volunteer project. The thing with going into people's inner homes and providing medical care for some of the sickest who can't get out of the house.
Mm.
Like I sometimes I get paid in chickens and turkeys and blueberries and all kinds of food as opposed to money. And
Mm.
this is good stuff, but good stuff doesn't pay the bills.
Hmm.
And you need to pay the bills. And you have to have money first. Then you can have more time. And then you can create magic. And I was doing things that exact opposite way.
Don't feel bad. A lot of physicians give free care, and especially physician coaches and different things like that. So yeah, because we want to help, right?
Yeah, because we just have these big hearts. As physicians, we are, for the most part, we are salt of the earth people who are trying to make a difference in the world, have incredible impact, and leave the world a better place than when we first stepped into it.
But now you've learned, now since joining ABS, you've learned that I can serve and earn at the same time, right? Yeah. And then you've also learned that I'm going to build, as much as I want to serve, I'm going to build a pathway for myself so that I'm earning, so that I can do even more serving and I can do even more giving and I can give on a greater scale, right?
So I can give and I can create massive impact and I can change major lives and I can get paid at the same time.
Yes.
By joining other companies, for instance, or creating my own and working on like the language platform, for instance. Because yes, that's going to be amazing. It's going to help us so much with our patients. It's going to cut down the time on translators. But I'm also going to get paid something for that.
Yes, awesome. Awesome. And you deserve to be paid for it. You deserve to be paid for it. Dr. Magda says, so mind opening, Dr. Efka. Money helps to make an even better and lasting positive impact in the world. Thank you for your amazing contributions. Dr. Dr. Cockert said, I love your creative work and businesses, Dr. Efka. It's magic. And Dr. Una says, good stuff does not pay the bills.
Not pay the bill.
That's
In fact,
wonderful.
I'm doing a disservice to myself if I don't get money first.
Yeah, yeah.
The best way I can be of more help to other people is I first have to take care of me. And I first have to be able to because all the good work in the world, all the volunteer projects are not going to put food on my table. Well,
Yeah.
except if I'm getting paid in chicken.
The turkeys put food on your table, but it's temporarily.
That's right. That's right.
That's so funny. Oh my goodness. I am so happy for you. I'm so happy for you because you've come to where your roads converge, but they don't have to conflict with one another. You still get to do all of these beautiful things you want to do, all of the magic you want to create in the world, all the impact you want to see. You still get to do it, but you're going to get paid in the meantime. And
I'm going to get paid.
To make your impact exponential. This is beautiful.
Absolutely. And there's such an emphasis on that here to make sure that we're getting paid. And the other thing that we're doing here, which is incredible, is we're not becoming obscure. When I first entered EntreMD, I was terrified to speak. I remember going on my first radio show and the person there was hoarse and they couldn't talk and they expected me to talk for 45 minutes about my topic because I'd written all these books. So one of the books I wrote was FPI's Handbook about food allergies. And because of being surrounded by all these people like you who are great speakers, you kind of rub off on me. And just channeling the inner Dr. Una on that, or the inner Vikita, all of you allowed me to go on the radio show. And it basically felt like a monologue. And I spoke for 45 minutes and I didn't say a lot of ums and and which I had done prior to joining Dr. Una when I had gone on shows. I had been on shows where they decided not to show the show because I was so nervous that I couldn't speak.
Oh my goodness, Dr. Efka, you're so funny. You say you channel your inner Dr. Uno, but what you're saying, I'm laughing just because of the way you're saying it, but what you're saying is a reality. It's so true. It's so true. Speaking is hard,
And now I've spoken in front of stages. I was at a Health 2.0 conference getting National Health Leadership Award last summer.
Wow, congrats.
And I was speaking in front of a huge stage. I had 3 talks to me. And people at the end gave me a standing ovation.
Wow.
And there's no way that would have happened if it wasn't for all of the speaking that we're being asked to do here, all of the conversations we're going to be doing. Because by being out there, making ourselves known, and practicing something over and over and over again, we get better and better at it.
Yeah, yeah. This is so good. This is so good. Tell me, I mean, I'm just that must make you feel so good to go from someone that's afraid to even speak at a radio show where no one's in front of you except the other person to speak on a stage with people are actually sitting looking at you and they give you a standing ovation. That is a huge, huge transition. And I'm so proud of you and I hope you're proud of yourself as well.
But then I look at the rest of the people in the group and the rest of the people at EBS, you guys are pushing my butt. We do better when we're around people who force us to grow because they're
Mhm.
growing and they're doing things. And if they're doing these things, guess what? We're more likely to do the same thing.
Yeah.
There's strength in numbers.
Yeah, the community, all people, the number one question, one of the number one questions I get all the time about the business school is like, what about one-on-one with Dr. Una? Is there any one-on-one with Dr. Una? I think I need one-on-one. I need one-on-one. I need one-on-one. But the community is so fantastic. It is so amazing. It is so impactful. You just brought up another point of now the community is supportive, but the community is also a catalyst for you to do more, for you to be inspired.
Yeah. And to be there and to support each other and to cheer each other's on. And sometimes to also go on each other's stages
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
to talk about each other. So there's an incredible thing that I'm creating this week, which I'm like terrified. If it wasn't for EntreMD, I don't think I'd be in this place.
Oh,
I
wow.
am having an informal meet and greet between a former NFL player,
Hmm.
a company that's on the front lines doing the care throughout the world, a telemedicine company, someone from EntreMD who's going to
Mm.
be on there, a guy who brings electricity and power and internet service all over the world, and an organization that wants to bring healthcare to countries and areas that don't have it.
Wow.
And it's this meeting and greeting of people that wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for the basic principles we're learning in EntreMD. Connect with others,
Mm-hmm.
create meet and greet opportunities, and use the power of your network.
Mm-hmm.
Is one of the people who's going to be on my show is from EntreMD. I would never have otherwise met them.
Wow. And
And
you've got
we're
a
poised
former
to be
NFL
one of the global.
player. That is unbelievable. You got a former NFL player, you got the movers and shakers in the healthcare industry all coming together to make these big, big decisions. Oh, Dr. Efka for president. This is unbelievable. I'm so proud of you. So excited about what you're doing. This is unreal. I can't wait to see the ripple effect of everything. And I'm just very, very excited for you. Dr. Efka, what would you say to someone that has been thinking about the school, but they're just nervous? They're nervous, like maybe they're shy like you were, they're shy about speaking. They don't, trust that they would be able to do some of the things that we're asking. Because in the Opportunity Business School, we ask you to speak, we ask you to make videos, we ask you to get on social media, you know. What would you say to them?
So I would say that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with an initial step.
Mhm.
When I first joined EntreMD, to be where I am right now, being one of the medical officers of this one company that's doing international work, having a language platform to teach physicians how to speak Spanish within 200 hours,
Mhm.
there's no way I would be able to do that from where I started if it wasn't for the support and the uplifting environment that you have here.
Mhm.
We are in life to grow and to be the changes that we want to see in the world.
Mhm.
And it is easier to grow if you have people that you're looking up to who are kind of moving you outside of your comfort zone because of what they're doing, and you're just following suit. And what better environment to do that in than EntreMD?
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been so refreshing talking to you. I feel like I could talk to you forever. We probably need to make a date You're so inspirational. I wonder if you know just how inspirational you are. Check in the comments. Look at all the love. Can we just appreciate her in the comments? Let her know how amazing her story is. I think some of us already have. Congratulations to you. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, and thank you for being so candid and telling us everything.
Well, thank you for all of you. I'm just looking at all of you, and this is a family.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank you, Dr. Evka. Okay, we've got Dr. Monica Minger. Dr. Monica Minger. Look at all the love in the chat, Dr. Evka. And you can let us know if you have any social media handles, a way for us to contact you. That'd be wonderful. Dr. Minger, how are you?
I'm doing great today. Thank you.
It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, so I'm Monica Minger. I am a family medicine doctor here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I actually left employment about 9 months ago now and opened my own clinic, Radiant Clinic, and we focus all on natural women's health and fertility. My current, yeah.
Can you just stop right there? Because we just want to celebrate that. I left employee practice 9 months ago and started my own practice. Can we just give her some love in the chat for that? Can we just give her some love in the comments for that? She started her own practice. Oh my goodness.
Big deal.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Yes. It's crazy to think like it's been that short of a time, but it's gone fast and slow all at the same time. So yeah. So I've been seeing patients here at Radiant for 8 months now. So I've been officially open 8 months. But I just celebrated my 1-year anniversary in EBS yesterday. So I've been in the business school since before I even started. And I think that's a big part of the reason why I joined. Some of the big challenges I had was, where do I even start? Somebody else has been handing me a paycheck for 12 years. How am I going to do this? Where do I start? I don't know what in the world to do. And really a big part of that is, yes, people in my community knew me from doing family medicine, but I knew I needed to draw on much more than that, just to be able to continue with that visibility and finding new patients to make things longer standing, and also very different business model. So I am also a direct specialty care provider, similar to Dr. Khan. And here where I'm at, there are a big 0 doctors in our whole community that do that. So a totally different model for our community. There's only about 4 other docs in Iowa that do that. So I was a very, very heavy insurance based place. So just very big challenges, uphill battles to have to fight kind of along this whole journey.
Those are big challenges.
Yeah.
Those are big challenges. I mean, so you're basically telling us a month after you quit, you started your practice.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure did. Don't know if I would do that same route again, but yes, that's exactly what happened. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you're telling us you started a cash-based practice, not just, a practice, but a cash-based practice.
Yes.
But also another thing that I think you're telling us, and you'll tell me, is that EBS kind of prepared you for it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I had been listening to Dr. Una for about 4 or 5 months on podcasts prior to joining EBS. So by that time I was like, great, this is what I absolutely need to do to get my business started off on the right foot. And so joined EBS in March, left employed practice in June, and then opened up end of July with my new practice. But I also, from that very first day that I was in the EntreMD business school, had people that reached out to help with, okay, what EMR should I use? Where do I find this? How can I get new patients? And I had, in that first day, 3 people that reached out to me. Here's my direct cell phone number. Call me. Let's talk through this and such problem that you're having. And that all of that just really propelled getting me set off on the right foot, so that my first week of business, I had almost a completely full schedule. After I didn't even know. I actually didn't even have a building until 1 week before I opened my doors. I didn't know where I was going to see people, but I had people on the list. So we literally closed down the building, and a week later started seeing patients, and saw patients in the midst of painting and wallpapering and all of the things. But I wasn't scared to do that because of everybody in the business school being like, it's fine. They just want to see you. They don't care about the rest of it. Just go, just full steam ahead. And so it was good to just have that support, because otherwise I would have waited until everything was perfect and finished. And I would have lost another 4 months of seeing patients.
And what Dr. Minger is describing, there's two things. Number one is the business before the business, which is what we try and implement, with everyone that wants to start a business in the EntreMD Business School. We help you to build your brand, build an email list, build a wait list, get people scheduled. Dr. Minger is one of tens of people that will tell you that I started busy. I started my practice busy. I was busy from day one. I was full from day one. And she's telling you within the first week, she had a full schedule. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens through all of the work, I'll let her tell the story, but it happens with all of the work before. And then Dr. Minger, you brought up one other point that I really want to emphasize, because I talk to doctors all the time. And a lot of times what they ask me, it's like, well, what about my logo? What about my building? What about my website? What about what EHR I should use? What about, should I be an escort or, and I tell them, don't worry, you'll find that information within the school. So the school will help you with that. And you just completely, supported that.
Yeah. Well, and I think it is so many times people were like, just choose whichever EHR you want. Most of us change it 5 times and you'll just roll. Like, I thought this was this huge decision I had to be married to for the rest of my life. And as it turns out, I did end up changing it already once, and was able to talk to other people who were like, okay, cool. This is how I did it. It's fine. Just a blip, keep on moving. Like, and made it so that the things that were actually important became more of the focus, rather than spending so much time on all of those other things that it's like, no, that doesn't matter. You need to get out there, get vocal with social media, with podcasts, with helping people to find you. And that's where I started off. And yeah, for the first week, we flew by the seat of our pants, and it was fine. And patients didn't notice and the doors were rocking. So it was good.
What is your business like now? 9 months later?
Yeah. So we've instituted a million new things. I've changed my prices. I've actually increased prices twice, thanks to all of my friends in EBS saying, no, you're still not charging enough. Keep going, keep going, keep going. So just recently went through another price increase. And we've instituted discovery calls, which is a little bit unusual in regular healthcare. But we offer a free 20-minute phone call for clients to talk with us, and they talk to me, and I talk, here's everything that we do. And so that's been really fun to see those really take off, especially as we've gotten more vocal with a lot more visibility things. So we're very visible on social media. I have a weekly podcast. We've been doing more live events in the community. And so really seeing then the interest pick up on those discovery calls. And at this point in time, I have about a 75% conversion rate if I can get somebody on the phone, from the standpoint of I talk to them, they agree, yes, this is the best right fit. And then they sign up for me. And I always say it's not just a sign up until I have their actual credit card, money in the bank. So 75%, but that's not possible without all of the other steps that lead up to it, right? Like, it's not just that discovery call, it's being visible at the events, having a podcast they can listen to and binge on before they even get to that point in time.
Oh my goodness. You got everything working. You have a whole system in place in 9 months.
Yeah. So and it's changing all the time, and that's okay.
And the thing about the system is going to allow you to have more growth.
Yes.
So if 50 other people want to come in today, they can, because there's a place for them to fall in. That is unbelievable. 75% conversion is really good. The industry average is 30. So 75% is, you're doing some stuff, Dr. Monica.
And we've got some people in the business school who I've talked to when I played through these discovery calls that are at 80 or 90%. So I'm still pushing myself a little further, but it's not unheard of, because we know those tools. We talk to each other. We kind of network about what works well. What exactly do you say? Can you give me your scripting? How can I tweak that? And really, you've got those other people that you can kind of run that by to just constantly improve yourself, even just 1% better.
Yes. And the thing about it is you're in a membership base or cash base or direct primary base, those are not as successful as what you're describing. We've talked to people who said, well, I was prepared to not be profitable for the first 3 years, and your story is completely different. I mean, you were profitable from week one, maybe.
Yeah.
So this is really amazing. And I want to congratulate you,
Thank
for
you.
all your hard work, because it's one thing to learn everything, but it's another thing to actually do it. And then it's another thing to lean on the help of your classmates, right?
Yes.
You lean on them.
Yes.
They were there to help. You had people give you their cell phone numbers and reaching out to you. So I want to shout out the doctors in the EntreMD Business School. It really is the only school of its kind for physicians that want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. It's the only school of this kind where you're going to get the community, the support, the accountability, the strategy that you need to build and to scale a successful business. You're on your way to scaling it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say the other is, I think a lot of times you guys hear all the stories like, oh, everything is so great and sunshine and roses, right? But like, we all have those moments in business, even if everything is going well, when you just feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. I'm in a valley. And I think that's been the other piece, is that this community has been wonderful. And Dr. Una talks specifically about, what do you do when you're in that valley, right? Like you keep on walking, you keep walking up. And I think that's the reality of business, is that there will be those valleys, but there's also those people to pull you out of that when it gets rough. So this has been a great community for that, especially with all the ups and downs in the first year of business.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, because we're talking about wins, but there definitely are valleys, right? There's definitely days where you're like, what was I thinking? Did I make the right decision? You know what I mean? There are definitely those days, but imagine facing those days alone versus facing it in a community, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So much easier.
Yeah. All right. EntreMD.com/business. Put in your application. Let's talk. If you know that there's more, if you're looking for more, if you're thinking about doing your own practice like Dr. Monica, or doing something different, or if you already have one and you want to scale it or grow it, let's have a conversation. Dr. Minja, what would you say to someone that is concerned about the investment? That's another thing I get, like, oh, this is a big investment, like I mean, I get it. Dr. Una's amazing and this all sounds great, but I don't think I can do this investment. What would you say?
Yeah, I think there's two ways to look at it. There's the way that looks at it that says, if I do this, what will my wins be? And if I don't do this, what am I going to be missing out on? And that's really what it came down to for me, especially being brand new in business. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to add this expense on top of all of my other regular expenses, I want to make sure that I cover it. So one thing I did is I built in my EBS tuition into my regular expenses, and then just said that has to be covered. And honestly, that first week that I was open in business, I made enough that week to cover my monthly tuition for EBS. I mean, so there's no way I would have done that without being in EBS. And so, just from a monetary standpoint, there was just no other option for me. The other is the investment of time. And I will say that's one of the beautiful things about this group. The more you put in, the more you get back. And really just being able to kind of pull from the pieces that you need from the community, but also giving back to the community, that feedback, that connection, and really has built some nice bonds between people that some of them I've never met in person, right? And some of them we meet in person when we do our in-person events. But it's really just that connection and feeling like I'm not alone, that the one of 5 doctors in our whole state that's doing direct care, like, doesn't matter. I've got friends doing direct care all over the country. It's fine. Like, just that piece has been huge in my journey.
Yeah, and it seems like the friendships are lifelong. I mean, the friendships within the business school seem to be lifelong. Dr. Una said something that I love. She said, imagine that all these people are your classmates. Come join us. Yeah. I mean, we're all falling in love with all of you.
And there's way more of us in there. I know. So, yeah.
Dr. Minja, you are a total rock star. Thank you so much for your time. We are just so proud of everything that you're doing, and we can't wait to see more of you. Please let us know how to reach and get in touch with you in whatever way is comfortable for you, if anybody wants to get in touch with you. All right. Wasn't that so good? Oh my goodness. Everyone has just been blowing us away. I mean, with their visibility, with their stories of their businesses, and just how they are choosing to do life on their own terms, right? They're choosing to practice medicine on their own terms. That has been incredible. I have just one more. Can we do one more? I know it's 6:54. Can we do one more? Let me know in the comments if I can do one more. Please, 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 please. Yes. Okay. Okay, Dr. Verma. Thank you. Anyone else besides Dr. Verma? Okay. Dr. Una. All right, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I want to bring, okay, thank you guys. Thank you. I want to bring the amazing Dr. Tolu Olabintan. She is going to talk to us. Dr. Tolu, how are you? Can you
I
unmute
am
yourself?
good. I am good. I am good. It's so good to be here. And I gotta say, Efka, it's so good to see you. She was one of the reasons I joined EBS. I heard her speak 3.5 years ago, yes. And I was like, wow. So I joined. So yes. Um, so good to be here. I'm a OD. I feel a little old in the group, but still learning every day. So what's my first question? I didn't catch that. What
Oh
was
no,
my
that's
first
okay.
question?
Just introduce yourself. And Dr. Efka, look at you. You that said, oh, I had to enter. I guess
Yes, you.
channeling your inner Dr. Una has been working for you for years now because Dr. Tolu joined the business school 3 years ago because of you. And by the way, everyone except for Dr. Khan has been in the business school more than a year. Dr. Monica is entering her second year now as of today. um, Dr. Efka, are you year 3 or year 4?
I'm the one founding.
You're the founding.
Yes.
When I was on here, I was there right at the beginning, supporting her. And it's just been such an incredible journey. This is my
Wonderful.
family. And you are so amazing, Dr. Olafandin. And I am it's such a pleasure to be in this room.
Oh,
Of awe-inspiring physicians.
that's awesome. Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Efka. And then Dr.
Thank you.
Tolu, you're in year 3, I think.
Yes, I started, yeah, my third year in November of last year. Yes.
Okay, so
So
tell us a little bit.
yeah, I'm Dr. Ola Benton. I am the CEO and co-founder of Living Spring Family Medical Center in Mansfield, Texas, where we help our patients live long and well because we believe the quality of life is just as important as the quantity of life. I learned how to do that in EBS, how to say who I am, and to um, talk about what I do in a succinct manner. And just a backstory, I joined 2021. I had moved to from Pennsylvania to Texas. I was working HIV clinic in primary care and HIV care, and then COVID hit, and the nudge to start a practice came about. I mean, obviously, I was new in the practice, so relatively obsolete. I was scared to start. And I remember it was a friend of mine also who had joined EBS. I could see the things she was doing. And I was like, oh my goodness, who's she watching and what's she doing? And so I got introduced to the visibility formula, something similar to this. And I heard Dr. Efka speak, Dr. Kaufman. And thankfully, the mindset of doing it scared was already ingrained in me. It was a Bible verse, David says, even when I'm afraid, I will trust you. And then Dr. Una said the same thing, and that resonated with me and with the members of the group. So I joined. Fast forward now, so our third year, the visibility formula works. Dr. Una knows what she's talking about. I wasn't the best of students. I didn't do everything to the T, but I did a good chunk and I stayed accountable. I would do the assignments. So fast forward now, we have over 6,300 patients. We have almost 1,000 Google reviews. I've been asked to come speak on platforms, paid and unpaid. I don't take everything because one of the things we're learning, Dr. Una's in EBS, is the power of focus. So not to get too distracted with too many things that come with being very visible. So I've also been asked to be an ambassador. Where a company had me just put my name to their article and I get paid every month. I've had businesses come asking me to take them. Like Quest initially said no because they said I was too small. They couldn't have a lab in there, and that's like wow, So I went and I asked a local lab company to work with me, and I boycotted Quest. Now they came back and said, we see what you're doing in the community. Could we have the uh, wins in it. Watching my first Facebook Live 3 years ago, February. I was nervous. I was like, what the heck am I doing? But there are many things that resonated with me. Number one, Dr. Una would say, get over yourself. Who are you called to to minister to. And as a physician, this role as co-founder of Living Spring Family Medical Center is more than just a business, it's a calling. And so she would say things like, even in class, Wednesday, get over yourself, like, think about who you're called to serve. Are you doing a disservice where you don't allow yourself for them to see you so you can be said blessing? And so that was another powerful reminder. Being visible means you make it easier for those who need you to find you. And so as someone who's big on, legacy and impact and outlive, like my what's the word? Like my life and what I've done outliving me. So when I'm done, my work still speaks and still helps and still empowers. It's important to be visible, right? So so the mindset shift, we're 7 figures now. I have a team of 16 people. I'm actually out on spring break this week, and I have my team working, and they're finding things or ways to level up. I I'm like, doctors come to me, a specialist asking to send patients to them, and as long as you treat my patients, I will refer them to you. And so they're eager to get my patients in because of who I am in the community. I've become an advocate. I'm actually looking to, I met with the Chamber of Commerce, and I said, I don't like Texas. The way we eat is not so good, and I just want to come speak somewhere to encourage better, healthier options for Texans, especially Mansfield. And they're like, "Oh, yes, we would love to have you on." So it's like, I try to write some of the things down, but being visible has been a blessing. It's been a challenge too. I've had to grow up as a leader. I've had to navigate the valley seasons of being an entrepreneur. My capacity has increased as a wife, as a minister, as a mother, as a mentor. Like, I'm doing more things now than when I thought I had more time. So it's and I'm trying to say all this so I don't forget, because even still speaking makes me a little nervous still. But that's the thing with EBS, you do it scared, you do it because this is what you're called to do, and you do it because the fear can sit in the back, and you can still do life for your own terms. The end.
How many wanted to interrupt her when she said we're 7 figures now? I was like, like, oh yeah, we have 6,000 patients, 1,000 Google reviews. The community asked me to speak, and we're 7 figures now. I mean, this is a big deal. What a transformation. You had so many amazing wins, even the wins with you as a leader, how you've grown in capacity, you've grown in your ability to lead a team, you've grown in your ability to build systems, because to be a 7-figure entrepreneur starting from zero, you didn't have a practice when you entered the business school. You weren't, I think when you entered the school, you weren't even sure you wanted to start a practice. You knew you wanted to do something different. And then you decided to do the practice. So that is unbelievable. All of that happened within a span of 3 years of being in the school. So this is pretty amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Dr. Tolu. It's so inspirational all the time. I want to ask you a question. What would you say to someone that is considering their school, but they're unsure, they're on the fence. They're like, this really sounds great, but I can't, have not been able to make a decision.
I was on the fence too. And thankfully, right before that, and I've shared this before, the mindset shift, because for me, mindset shift precedes my decisions. I'm my own biggest investment. And the truth is, it costs what it costs. Now, you're saying, you're listening, 7-figure, wow, that's amazing. But I did mention I have a team of about 16 people. Mm-hmm. So it's going to cost you to make money. So I have to hire people. It will cost me to make money. It's going to cost me. I need to up level to be able to do the things that I do. This was the price to pay. Worth it. Return on investment, man. Like, it's a non-negotiable. My husband's like, oh, let's we sit because my CEO, he's the COO, and so we're co-founders. So we sat together like, okay, what can we expenses? I'm like, this is a no, this is a no, this is the like, this is a necessary. He's like, fair, So it costs what it costs. There's no way around it. I would say divide it by 12 if it makes it easier, because that helped the math. Like we break it down to 12, divided weekly, like it's reasonable, and it's worth it.
The dream costs what it costs. So what is your dream, and what is the price that you're willing to pay for your dream? Basically, right, Dr. Ola Bintan? The dream costs what it costs, and it's worth it, right? It's worth it. Thank you so much for sharing. Can we give her some love in the comments? Oh my goodness. Thank you for your time. Do you have any last words you wanted to share?
I'm happy to have conversations. I've had with a few people, as well, explaining the journey, and I'll be happy to do the same thing too. No regrets. I'm telling you, even the community itself, I mean, it's amazing. So we're not just here saying that because Dr. Una didn't ask us to do this. I love to do this and come and share. Sometimes when I'm not asked, I'm like, oh, okay. But it's you can't take back time. So we want to make the most of the time we have. In this community, you get to max it out.
Exactly. And I love what you said about not taking back time. I've spoken to people, and Dr. Una has as well, who told us, I am exactly where I was last year. My only regret is not getting into the business school sooner. So the question is, okay, if the business school does not work for you, then what are you going to do? Because you want to be in a different space next year. And the thing about it is, let's talk and see if it is for you. This is Dr. Una said, even if you have questions, we are happy to answer them. That's what turning in an application does. It just allows us to have a conversation. It's not binding. You're not going to get an invoice. It's just a conversation. It's you telling us, I'd like to know more. I'd like to see if the business school can work for me. I'd like to see if getting the community, the support, the accountability it can work for me based on my business, based on where I am currently. So there's no strong arm there. Dr. Una says, Dr. Tola, you're such a vision board for physicians everywhere. Yes, exactly. Dr. Una says, we'll just help you see if it's your next best step. That's all we want to do. So EntreMD.com/business. I'll put it in one last time. And I want to thank everybody that came on tonight. Wasn't this great? I mean, we learned so much and we were inspired by all of your stories. Thank you all for coming. This has been fantastic. Oh, and guess what? Oh my goodness. Dr. Una is always over delivers. Guess what? On Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern, we have an open house. OMG. Most likely it's going to be the same link, but you'll get an email and everything. 6 p.m. Eastern, open house. EntreMD open house, so you can come in, get to see everybody, get to know everybody, talk to everybody, get to see your instructor. You've already got homework. Now is at the open house, right, Dr. David? So I hope to see you all there. And I hope to see you all putting in applications. Those of you who are interested, those who have questions about the school. Dr. David said, yeah, I'd love to answer them. I'm here 6 p.m. Eastern on Monday. It's going to be the open house. Thank you everyone for an amazing night. This has been fantastic. It's going to be 6 to 8. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Una. This has been fantastic. I want you all to remember to put in everything you can to make your dreams come true. Because when your dreams come true, you're not just impacting yourself, you're impacting your patients, you're impacting your employees, you're impacting your community, and offshoot, you're impacting the world. So we need what you have. We need that dream that's in you. We need it. Don't let it stay dormant, okay? The time is now for what you want to do. Have a good night, everyone.